Hello, team. So let's talk about webhooks. Now, what the heck are webhooks, and what are the alternatives? Well, first of all, think of it this way: webhooks is like imagine you're trying to transfer information from one party to another. Let's just say you're at home and you're just waiting for a phone call from your friend, and you're essentially you give your friend your phone number, right? And that phone number is essentially the webhook API or key, and your friend at any time, it could be 3 a.m., hopefully not, right? But at any time, your friend could call you and your phone will ring, right? So that's webhooks. Now, alternatively, what is polling, right? Polling is, imagine same scenario, but instead of your friend calling you, you call your friend on regular intervals. It could be once a week at a certain time, once every day, every hour, every 15 minutes, right? And you might ask your friend, hey, do you want to hang out? You want to hang out? You want to hang out, right? And you can imagine how annoyed your friend will be, right? So polling, so there's definitely pros and cons to each, right? Webhooks, uh, real-time updates. You don't have to wait for the poll, right? You have to wait to on a schedule to ask your friend if they want to hang out. It's obviously a lot more efficient. It's just your phone is just active. It's available and only rings when your friend calls you, right? So event driven and definitely reduces server load because imagine, I mean, I might be dating myself, but back in the day with landlines, when you call someone, it locks up the landline. And imagine every time you call, you at intervals of 15 minutes or hour, then it just locks up the landline. And polling doesn't necessarily lock up the landline or lock up the server, but it does use a little bit of resources. Um, Cons, you have to rely on so cons to webhooks, you have to rely on your phone, in this case working, right? If your phone's not working, it's put on silent, obviously your friend can't call you. And then it's slightly more complex to configure. And then polling, it is simple. I would say somewhat reliable, but if the same thing can happen if you call your friend or if you poll them, like let's say you call them every 15 minutes and there's an issue on their end, you're going to have connection issues too. Flexibility, how often you want to check it. And then, yes, we already know increase in server load. Then there's latency, and then just not efficient from a update standpoint, because you're doing all these requests, right? You're constantly calling your friend every 15 minutes. That's inefficient for polling. So this is why personally I prefer webhooks. Now let's talk about webhooks and putting it in action using make.com, one of my favorite tools, as the tool to create the webhook and move that data to another system. And we'll start out with something really simple: Google Forms. So how it works, for example, we have a form here. This is a form that we use for contractors to track their hours. Really simple, right? And they fill out this information, and I like that information first to be saved in a G sheet, and then the information is then notified, to us on Slack. So that's it's pretty simple. Now, before, the way we have it set up looks like this. We have Google Sheets, which is the polling method. So when the um, submission is made on the form, it adds the record to Google Sheets, and then what Make is doing is it checks, in this case, every 15 minutes Is there a new record? Is there a new record? Is there, oh, there is a new record. Then let's send that over to Slack, right? Not efficient. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this, get rid of this, and have it do a webhook, but not from Google Sheets, but from Google Forms. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go ahead and delete this, get this out of here, um, add in a webhook. Okay, we want to do custom webhook, and then we're gonna add. So this is a unique webhook for this particular form. It's important to make it very, very descriptive. So I like to do this webhook, and then literally put the name of the form. So we know what the webhook at the form, and then I'm gonna hit save. So now it's saying, all right, it's listening. So like your phone is working, but it needs to know what kind of data is coming in, right? Before I can tie in the data. So I'm gonna copy this address, go into the form here, and we do use a plugin, an add-on called Make for Google Forms. And you got to install it first. And then once it's installed, enable webhook, hit save. Okay. And real quick deviation, you want to go to get add-ons, and then just search for webhook, and then you should be able to find Make for Google Forms. So now it is connected, and I'm going to go ahead and hit, copy that, and then actually do a test one. Okay. So I'm going to record. I'm going to set a piece here, and then I'll say Dave, test one. This is just a test one. This will be $1, and then test one. Okay. Go ahead and hit submit. Response has been recorded. And then let's go over to make. Aha, successfully determined. Awesome. So now I hit OK. So from the Slack, these references were from the Google Sheets. So now we just need to update them with the new form data. So submitted by. That I use, let's see, email. So that's how I know. And then the payload is the data. So the contractor name, date of work, description, hours, project amount, and then comments. This was all reference. Okay, I have the G sheet, and hit OK. So there we go. And there you have it. So I'm not going to go through the whole test, but I'm pretty confident now it works. At least we know the data is coming in. And now this is just one possibility, right? Now we have the data. You can add other modules. It could be anything to move that data from this location to another platform, right? Another data source. So hope this helps. See ya.